Okay, we're going to move on to our next topic then, which is settling the middle colonies. And our first subtopic under settling the middle colonies is the rise of New Netherland in America. The rise of New Netherland in America. Which tells you what kind of a taste are we going to have in America now. English? Dutch. Dutch. Okay? So, we're going to talk about the rise of New Netherland in America. Now, when we talk about the middle colonies, and it's pretty easy to figure out topographically, so to speak, this is the northern, this is the middle, this is the northern, the middle, and the southern. When we talk about the middle colonies in America, people from the Netherlands and Sweden were the first, established the first settlements in this area that we know as America today. So when you talk about the middle colonies, it was people from the Netherlands and Sweden that came over to the New World and made the first settlements in the middle colonies. And again, it were people from the Netherlands and Sweden who came over and established the first settlements in the middle colonies. Now, there was a company in the Netherlands known as the Dutch East India Company, which is on your ID sheet, and a pretty famous person worked for them. What was his name? Henry Hudson. Very good. So, in the early 1600s, there was a company entitled the Dutch East India Company, and one of its more famous employees that sailed in the service of the Dutch East India Company was Henry Hudson. Now, I think you might figure out that in 1609 he must have explored a river that still bears his name, known as the Hudson River. And where's that located? In New York. Keep that in mind. Sure. Not yet. So people from the Netherlands and Sweden established the first settlements in the middle colonies. And in 1609, Henry Hudson, who was an Englishman, sailing in the service of the Dutch East India Company, actually explored a river that has ever since carried his name. So it was ironically an Englishman that came over to the middle colonies and discovered that led to more Dutch settlers coming over, because Henry Hudson, although an Englishman, sailed in the service of the Dutch East India Company. Does that make sense? And he came over in 1609 and he explored a river that still bears his name. Well, because of this, during the next few years, Dutch traders began to make voyages to the middle Atlantic coast, or the middle colonies, from the Netherlands. So after word came back from Henry Hudson of this land that we know as the middle colonies, during the next few years after 1609, Dutch traders began to make voyages to the middle Atlantic coast, what we know as the middle colonies. Well, when people that had a little bit of money back in the Netherlands figured out that, hey, this might be a good deal in America, these middle colonies, they went to the government of Netherlands, and what did they get? A charter to come to the New World, and they formed a new company called, ironically, the Dutch West India Company. So after Henry Hudson's voyage in 1609, working for the East Dutch India Company, people started to come toward America. And these Dutch investors back in the Netherlands said, hey, this looks like a pretty good deal. So they went to the Dutch government and they secured a charter and they formed what was known as the Dutch West India Company. And they went to what we know as the middle colonies and claimed land there. And what name did they give to this new land that we're talking about that turn out to be the middle colonies? What's the name of their new land? The New Netherlands. Yep. New Netherland. So they named it after the mother country, but new. So the Dutch that represented the Dutch West India Company came to America and called the land they claimed, we know as the middle colonies, as New Netherland. And guess what the name of the first settlement was, Madison?
It was
New Amsterdam, very good. So the Dutch called the land they claimed New Netherland, and the first settlement they started they called New Amsterdam. Now we're going to get to what Madison talked about. New Amsterdam, this new city, or new, not city, but new settlement, was built on the lower tip of what? Manhattan Island. I don't know if you've ever been to Manhattan Island, but it's an interesting island. That's where New York City is, presently. So the New Amsterdam was built on the lower tip of Manhattan Island. So what, in essence, is New Amsterdam today? New York City. Okay, New York City. Now, the Hudson River was a pretty important thoroughfare, water-wise, so to speak, in that area. So the Dutch West India Company established forts and trading posts along the Hudson River. And one of the more famous ones was at present-day Albany, New York, which is the capital of New York. Very good. So, after forming New Amsterdam on the lower tip of Manhattan Island, now known as New York City, the Dutch West India Company established forts and trading posts all along the Hudson River, most notably one at present-day Albany, which is the capital of New York. Yes?
So the Eastern Company was called the New Amsterdam?
No, the East India Company didn't have anything to do with any of this we're talking about now. That's just who Henry Hudson worked for. What's that?
What's the Western Company?
Okay, that's a good question. Henry Hudson came over as an employee for the Dutch East Indies Company. But when he discovered how great this was, a bunch of investors got together and established a charter and made a new company called the Dutch West India Company, and they're the ones doing all this stuff. Okay?
The West is doing all the...
The New Amsterdam, the Albany, all that, yep. Now, once they got things organized, these investors of the Dutch West India Company wanted to attract settlers to New England, settlers to New Amsterdam and to the New Netherlands. They want people over to come into that new land. And so what they did is they had to offer something, and what they offered was huge land grants. Okay? They offered certain people huge land grants to come to America. What's a land grant? What's a grant? If you get a grant in college, do you pay that back? No. So a huge land grant would be, they're going to give them a huge amount of land in America if they'll come over. Now doesn't that sound a little bit too easy? The Dutch West Indies Company is offering huge land grants to people that will come over and settle this New Netherlands area. Now, they're not offering to just everybody, they're offering to members of the company. So you had to be a member of the Dutch West Indies Company to get this offer. Okay? And they're offering these members large land grants. And they were called what? Estates. Anybody know what an estate is? Hey, somebody, who's got, look that up, Talon. Look up an estate in your handy-dandy pocket dictionary and tell me what it says for a definition of an estate. Because there is actually something to it. An estate is a large amount of land, okay? Large piece of land, but there's something that goes with it. How you doing there? Yes. I know it, but you're not 57. You want to borrow my glasses? Estate. What's an estate?
One's possessions, large piece of land with a house.
Large piece of land with a house is an estate. So these members that were members of the Dutch West India Company were offered estates, which is a large piece of land with a house, if they would come to the New Netherlands. But that wasn't all, there was a catch. So they just didn't give them this land for nothing, just for coming over. So, picture this in your mind. So, Woolery, who can't get her locker open, has actually been offered an estate in the New Netherlands. And here it is. It's a large tract of land and a really nice house there. The only way that Woolery's getting this is if she agrees to settle at least 50 tenant farmers on her estate. Okay? She has to agree to settle at least 50 tenant farmers on her estate, and she has 4 years to do that. She has 4 years to get 50 tenant farmers on the estate. T-E-N-A-N-T. So, Blaine, look that up. What's a tenant farmer? What's tenant mean? You might find a couple different definitions to see if we can find the right one. So in order for Courtney, the member of the Dutch West India Company, to get this estate, which is a large tract of land with a house, she has to agree to put 50 tenant farmers on it within a 4-year period of time. So what's a tenant farmer? Blaine's going to tell you because he is on fire over here. Tenant, T-E-N-A-N-T, farmer. Which one meets the best definition? Huh?
T-E-N-A.
T-E-N-A-N-T.
One who occupies a rented dwelling.
Very good. So what's going to happen is these guys are going to rent a dwelling on that estate, and what do you think those tenant farmers are going to do while they're renting? They're going to farm, and I don't know this for sure, but maybe they're going to get a little bit of that, and maybe their farming's going to pay for their rent, but who's going to get the profits off of that big land? Courtney is, yeah, if she agrees to it. So, is the issue going to be getting people to agree to this, do you think, really?
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, you told me you're going to give me 100 acres if I could get 50 deer to stay on it within the perimeter, you know, for hunting purposes. I'd say, yeah, I'll get 50 deer on that thing. Now, these tenant farmers would work the land. They'd be paid a stipend. Okay, what's a stipend? When you coach football here, Coach Weber's going to get a stipend for coaching football. He doesn't get paid so much an hour, or so much a win, or so much a loss, or so much a day, or so much a month. He gets paid a stipend, agreed upon amount up front. I think the stipend to coach football here might be about $6,000. I don't know for sure. Okay, so these tenant farmers are going to come over. They're going to get a stipend. So where are most of the profits going? To the person that owns the estate. Now those people who accepted the offer became known as patroons. Patroons were people, members of the Dutch West India Company, who took them up on their offer of getting a large tract of land with a house if they agreed to put 50 tenant farmers on there for 4 years. Once they got established, they became known as patroons. That was the name of the person that owned the estate, patroons. Now, let's think about this, because this could be worth a shirt. It really could. So look, think about it before you answer hastily. What is the difference between, well, let me ask you this question. You may have more Englishmen taking you up on this tenant farmer offer than you would Dutchmen. Why? Yes, Will.
Is it because they were already very wealthy and didn't need to do that?
No, that's a really good guess, not t-shirt material, but a good guess. Why would Englishmen be more apt, although they're not going to come over to the New Netherlands, right? Because they live in, they don't live in England. Go ahead. No? Bailey? If you get this right, you can give a t-shirt to whoever you
I
want.
don't think it's right. Is it something about the language?
I'd be negative.
Would it be about the language since the...
Oh, good guess. Schreiber?
Would it be not just trying to gain more land on top of the colonies that you
No.
already have?
Good. These are good guesses. I want to rephrase it again. Why would someone be more apt to come from England than the Netherlands to settle on somebody else's estate and do the work?
Because in the Netherlands they already have freedom of religion.
They already have freedom. Yes, there is. Who would you like to have a shirt, Bailey?
I
You don't have to pick anybody you don't want.
I don't know.
Okay, let's not put you on the spot,
Okay.
okay? You guys just lost out because she's pretty damn bright. Okay? No, the Dutch people in the Netherlands were free men and women. They had freedom of religion. They didn't have any reason to go over there and work for a crappy stipend and let the other people gain all the money. So these estate owners or patroons had a heck of a time getting any of these farmers on their estates. So, and I'll see if the t-shirt might work here. So what did they go get when they found out they couldn't get people from Dutch to come over?
Slaves.
Slaves!
Yes.
Mason, pulled her off. Large? They are gonna start there. Okay, all right, no boys are getting mediums, just so you know. Anyway, so slaves, okay, because, now listen up, because most Dutch citizens were free men and women, they refused to go to America to live on a patroon's estate. Because of this, the Dutch West India Company introduced slavery into the colony. Why'd they need slaves? Hell yeah, it was a way better deal for the patroons, because what weren't they giving the slaves? A stipend. Yeah, free labor. Not good, but free. So African slaves were used by the patroons to cultivate their estates with no payment at all. So the New Netherlands, frankly, didn't grow very well. They didn't get many people to come over. There was only one area of the whole area we know as the New Netherlands that even, well, most of the population concentrated in, and that was New Amsterdam, which we know now as New York City. Very slow process of getting Dutch people to come to America because they had freedoms in the Netherlands that they didn't need to come to America for. Does that make sense? Okay? All right. Now there was a community outside of New Amsterdam that was pretty famous, and it was founded by Lady Deborah Moody. It's on your ID sheet. So there was a pretty successful Dutch settlement outside of New Amsterdam, which was founded by Lady Deborah Moody. And she was from Salem, Massachusetts, ironically, and was a well-to-do landowner. So she formed a company in the middle, or excuse me, a settlement in the middle colonies herself, just from her well-to-do status. So a community outside of New Amsterdam was founded by Lady Deborah Moody, a well-to-do landowner from Salem, Massachusetts. Now, in order for this to make sense, where does it have to be around, location-wise? Well, New Amsterdam, the New York City area. It's got to be kind of around there, okay? Now, she did okay until 1643, and what happened in 1643, guess what the local Puritans told her? Were these Puritans that were coming from New Amsterdam? Remember we talked about that when they came down? Right? Okay, what'd they tell old Lady Deborah Moody? Puritan leaders, when she broke off and formed her own little place. I don't think that you and Roger Williams get it. Right? Your religious beliefs are not quite what we think is right. So, she decided to kind of move away. And she got permission from the Dutch government, and she moved her community and her followers to where? Near New York City. Long Island. Okay, Long Island is an island also. If you look at the map, I don't have a very good United States history map here, but this is see New York right here? Kids, take a look up here. This is Long Island right here. This little thing that sticks out there. Okay, so Long Island. So Lady Deborah Moody, who set up a community just outside of New Amsterdam, came from Salem, Massachusetts. She set up that colony, and in 1643 she was warned that her religious beliefs did not agree with the local Puritans, so she moved her community after receiving permission from the Dutch government to form a community which we now know as Long Island, New York. Who's a famous singer from Long Island? Brooklyn, Long Island. Anybody know? He was married to the hottest model of the 80s.
Yeah, I know this.
Marilyn Monroe.
Come on.
This is not for the 80s.
Sometimes a fantasy.
Whoa.
Sing us a song, I'm the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Billy Joel, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, little extra, okay? The thing about Lady Moody, the thing about her is she was a very good leader in her community. And guess what she did? She paid the Indians for their land that they settled on Long Island. She paid them. Who else said you should do that? Roger Williams. She paid them for their land. She planned a very good community, and that community maintained what? That was really important. What that community maintained?
Your religion.
What?
Your religion.
Would you quit answering these because you already got a t-shirt?
You are something.
I know.
All right. Freedom of religion. Thank you. No, I'm just teasing you. Keep it up. Okay, that'll take us to our next subtopic, which is probably a natural consequence of a new country coming into America. And what is that subtopic, Buck?
The Dutch that they speak.
Absolutely. The Dutch threat to the English leading to a conflict. You don't think the Dutch coming into America is going to cause a little bit of resentment among the English who came here first? That's going to lead to conflict. So the Dutch threat to the English leading to conflict. Now there was no question from the time the first people came in from the Netherlands that it was going to cause some conflict with English. No doubt. Okay? Now the reason for that is that from that important settlement of New Amsterdam, the Dutch actually controlled 3 vital